Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events shaping our world. I'm your host, Walter, and we're glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a developing story that's caught the attention of the international community. Tensions between Israel and Iran have escalated significantly over the past 24 hours, with both countries exchanging missile strikes and retaliatory attacks. According to reports, Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, citing concerns over Iran's nuclear program and its potential threat to regional stability. Iran has responded with a barrage of missiles targeted at Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, resulting in damage to residential areas and injuries to civilians. The situation is complex, with both sides presenting different narratives and justifications for their actions. Israeli officials claim that the strikes were necessary to prevent Iran from developing nuclear capabilities, while Iranian leaders accuse Israel of attempting to disrupt diplomatic efforts and undermine regional peace. As the conflict unfolds, there are concerns about the potential for a wider regional conflict, drawing in neighboring countries and threatening global energy markets. The United States has been involved in diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis, with President Trump urging Iran to reach a nuclear deal and warning of severe consequences if the situation escalates further. It's essential to approach this story with nuance and balance, recognizing the deeply entrenched historical and geopolitical factors at play. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the conflict between Israel and Iran has significant implications for regional stability and global security. As we move forward, it's crucial to consider multiple perspectives and prioritize diplomatic efforts to de-escalate tensions and prevent further violence. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter, and we're diving into the second segment of today's show. We've got a complex and developing story for you, straight from the world of international politics and security. As you may have heard, Israel has launched a series of attacks against Iran's nuclear program, sparking a significant escalation in tensions between the two nations. The Israeli military has reportedly carried out sophisticated strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, targeting centrifuges, processing equipment, and other key infrastructure. Now, we want to provide some context here. The situation is fluid, and there are many unanswered questions about the scope and impact of these attacks. But what we do know is that Israel has been expressing concerns about Iran's nuclear program for some time, citing fears that Tehran may be developing a nuclear weapon. The Iranian government, on the other hand, maintains that its nuclear program is peaceful and intended for energy production only. However, the International Atomic Energy Agency has raised questions about the program's transparency and compliance with international regulations. The Israeli attacks have been met with a mixture of condemnation and support from the international community. Some countries, like the United States, have expressed understanding for Israel's concerns, while others, such as Russia and China, have criticized the strikes as a violation of Iran's sovereignty. It's worth noting that this development comes at a sensitive time, with diplomatic efforts to revive the Iranian nuclear deal, also known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, still underway. The deal, which was signed in 2015, aimed to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. As we try to make sense of this complex situation, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and avoid taking sides. We'll continue to monitor the developments and provide updates as more information becomes available. The big question on everyone's mind is... Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We're wrapping up today's show with a story that's been making waves across the nation. As you may have heard, President Donald Trump recently turned 79, and to celebrate, he threw himself a military parade in Washington, D.C. The event was meant to commemorate the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, but it also coincided with the president's special day. Now, While some people might see this as a grand gesture, others have been critical of the move, citing concerns about the cost and the potential for perceived self-aggrandizement. But what's really interesting is how this event has sparked a wave of protests across the country. A movement called No Kings has organized over 1,800 demonstrations in all 50 states, with people taking to the streets to express their discontent with the current administration. The protesters are pushing back against what they see as an increasingly authoritarian rule, and they're using the slogan No Kings to emphasize that the United States is a democracy, not a monarchy. It's a powerful message, and one that's resonating with many Americans who feel that their voices aren't being heard. Now, we want to be clear. We're not taking sides here at Concrete Block. Our goal is to provide you with accurate, unbiased information, so you can make up your own minds about the issues that matter. And this story is certainly complex, with valid perspectives on both sides. On one hand, the president's supporters see the parade as a celebration of American strength and patriotism. They argue that it's a necessary display of military might, and that it brings people together in a shared sense of national pride. On the other hand, critics like Representative Jamie Raskin and former Labor Secretary Robert Reich are using their platforms to speak out against what they see as a threat to democracy. They're calling for peaceful protests and urging Americans to stand up for their constitutional rights. As we close out today's show, we want to leave you with some food for thought. What does it mean to be a democratic society? How do we balance the need for strong leadership with the importance of individual freedoms? And what role should protest and dissent play in shaping our national conversation? These are big questions, folks, and ones that we'll continue to explore here on Concrete Block. Thanks for tuning in today and for being part of this important discussion. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.